Okay, so this is called a Gantt chart. You can see over here the word Gantt chart. This is where you collect all of your tasks and your subtasks. Just like the video I showed you, it would put your main task and then the subtasks underneath them. You could link them where one thing is done before the other. And we have a timeline here. This shows you the timeline of your project. This shows you also your timeline. This is by month. This is by day. Standard working days is Monday through Friday. Then there's the 24-hour. Okay? So, let's look at this. Okay? And we have our usual, the copy, the cut, things like that. We can change our font style just like we can in any other software. So let's look. Let's say that we want to go ahead and call this, we could call it just basically fence. Okay? So that could be our main task. Let's say how long do we want it? We could say we want it to last for 5 days. When do we want this to start? Okay? So if we tell it to start on the 1st, okay, it will finish on the 5th. All right? So let's look at it. So now we know it's 5 days from here to here. So now let's look at what it takes to do that fence. So we need material. Okay. Well, actually, the first thing, if we did our mind mapping properly, we did our estimate. Okay. We did our contract. Okay. And so then we look at it and we go, wow. So who's going to do the contract? Who's going to do the estimating? That's where we get into what is called resources. Okay. Then we look over here, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to do materials. Okay. So this we could put in here, dig holes. Dig holes. Okay. We could come over here. I really should put those capital letters like everybody else does. So I will just come in here and tell it dig holes. Okay. Tell it okay. That's all I did was change that. So then we come over here. Then we want to look at and say, well, we want to level 2x4s. 2x4s. Okay. We want to install 4x4s. Okay. We want to install pickets. Okay. Then we have rental. Okay. What are we going to rental? What are we going to rent? So we do a backhoe. Okay. Possibly a post hole. Digger. Okay. Let's say we're going to do, what else do we think we might need? Okay. So when we look at materials, so these are some of the things that we're going to need to do a fence. Okay. So then we look at this and say, well, okay, so the fence project is there. So let's go ahead and in order to make this a sub underneath it, we can just easily push it out to here. But estimating includes the contract, so we will indent that one. Okay. So then we go over here and we look at materials. And we're like, okay, so materials. Can we insert a task? Okay. Insert another task. So let's put order materials. Okay, so the next one is delivery materials. Okay, so let's look. Okay, so we might need another one. So let's see what we can put in here. So we've got order materials, delivery materials, inventory materials. Okay, so we need to definitely do that. Okay, so then on this one we could actually do labor. Okay, and then over here we've got rental. So rental we want to keep as a main and leave the backhoe and the post hole. So we look at this, say, okay, materials, order materials need to be put out just like a outline. So what we do is we indent, okay, but we keep the materials in there. Now we have labor. We also need to do indent materials. Inventory. We have labor now. What happens in the labor? Well, we dig the holes. Okay. We need to level. Okay. Install. And rental is on its own. So what are we going to rent? A backhoe, a post hole. Okay. So you see here, you can see actually how the outline is starting to form. And so we look at this and we go, well, wait a minute. We want the estimate. Okay. It's going to take 1 day, but is the estimate going to happen exactly on that day? The estimate will happen probably prior to November 1st. So let's say that we do the estimate here, right here. Okay, but the project's actually going to start here. So now we look at the materials. Okay, so we are wanting to do this. This is going to take approximately 3 days. Okay, remember, we're going to start this on the 1st. Okay, so let's come over here, start it on the 1st. So now we can see our progress of the materials, how it's going. Okay, so this is going to be a day, this is going to be a day, and this will be a day. Okay, so then we look at this and we say, okay, so labor. This is actually the 5 days. Okay, so we're going to tell it 5 days. Okay, and so we're going to come over here and we're going to start it on the 1st. It's going to finish on that. Okay, and so we know that this is going to take the whole 5 days to do it. Okay, to do all of these. Then we have the rental. Okay, we know the rental takes a while to get in and to get delivered. Okay, so we actually want this delivered as well ahead of time. So we're going to do it the same thing as we did up here. And so we know that these things need to be done. So then we're like, well, wait a minute. We have this one, and this one. That's kind of odd. Should we leave it there? We can for now. We know that we need to identify with that. But this is where your mind mapping kicks in. Because the rental should have been up here right after the estimating. Okay? So we could come over here and we could say insert. We could do insert. How many do we have? We have 3. So let's do another one. Insert. We come over here. Okay? We can do copy. And let's see if we can paste it here. Okay? So now we know that those are together. Okay? Now we can come over here and we can delete these. So now we put them in their proper places. So now you can see it's right here. Okay? When it's going to happen. Okay? So if we really look at this and we say, oh, well, what is this? Now it's totally out of bounds because this estimating really we said was 2 days And so now we fix that. And this says 2 days. But now we're like, okay. Now, it's like, what's going on here? Okay. So now it's fixed. And it shows that it's going to happen. Okay. Before we even get started on the work. This is stuff that we have to do before we start on the fence. Okay. This is when we do the fence. Okay. We get the material in. And so you can see how things are working together. This is overall. This is the progress of everything. Okay. And so we could, if we wanted to, we could go ahead and map out the days, do things like that. But right now, this is how far I want you to look. What I want you to see. This is your outline. This is how many days. This is the start. This is the finish. Okay. So what if we come over here? Okay. We copy that. Okay. Will it let us paste it here? Yes. Because look what we have now. We have our task. Okay. And we have our start, our duration, and we have all of this. This will also copy over there. Okay. So we can also indent this. Okay. As we need it. So we have several manually scheduled here. So we don't really need this one. I don't know why it did that. Okay. So here's our why it did all of the, if I grabbed everything, I will have to look at it and see what it was supposed to grab because it doesn't look like oh, that's right. We don't need this. That's why it did that. Looks like I undid the wrong thing. So let's just delete this. Okay, and now I want to delete this entire thing. There we go. So now we have it looking like our project schedule. Okay, what I did is I accidentally grabbed this area. All I needed was this one here. Okay, so here's my outline. If you're using Excel, this is what it should look like. Definitely just like this. Okay, so this is the start of our very first project. Okay, and so this is what we will be working on. Okay, so be thinking about what it takes to do a fence. Okay, so we know we're going to do pickets, things like that. You can come out here. Those of you that are new to it, what if we come out here and what do I need to install a fence? Okay, so it's going to show you a lot of stuff here, what you can do, what you can buy. Okay, here's Lowe's. There's all different things. It will match a contractor if you want to go to the different contracting places. But what we want, see, look right here. Plan your fence. You'll need a permit, maybe. Measure and lay out the fence. You'll need to dig the holes, position the posts in the concrete, attach the rails or panels, attach pickets to the rails, attach post caps. If you want to stain it. So right here, they've shown you everything on how to build the fence. Okay? So if you go to Home Depot, they probably have a video here on how to do it. Okay? Step by step, look at this. So those of you that have never put a fence together, this will help you greatly to decide what you need to do. He's doing it manually. we were putting in there a rental. Okay, so these are all the things so you can do a really nice fence. So my suggestion is to go out, go to Home Depot, how to build a fence, right there. Okay,